We have some very special guests with us today. Before I introduce them, I want to please ask that you at this time stow your electronic devices, put your phones away, because once again, which is the theme of this week, we are watching live musicians right in front of us, feet away from each other, and it's important to be in the moment of that. So if you'd please put your phones away, that would be outstanding. Thank you. So in front of you are actors with the Four Seasons Theater. And they do outreach throughout Dane County, and they bring musical theater entertainment into their community along with some educational pieces as well. Every year they have a theme, and this year's theme is the best of Stephen Sondheim, who is a very well-known composer in the run in musical theater realm. So without further ado, please welcome the Four Seasons Theater.
Something familiar, something peculiar, something for everyone, a comedy tonight. Something appealing, something appalling, something for everyone, a comedy tonight. Nothing with kings, nothing with crowns, bring on mothers, liars and clowns, old situations, new complications, nothing portentous or polite, tragedy to morrow, comedy tonight. Thank you for that warm welcome, and thank you for welcoming us into Oregon High School's lovely Performing Arts Center to share with you Stephen Sondheim songs. My name is Tamara Brignano. I am proud to be the outreach coordinator for Four Seasons Theater. As Mrs. Yancey indicated, Four Seasons Theater is a local company. We are now in our 13th season of bringing high-quality musical theater entertainment to Madison area audiences, and we're so happy to be in Oregon with you today for Fine Arts Week. So, if you're a big fan of musical theater, the name Stephen Sondheim may be familiar to you, but he might not be familiar to everyone. Just with a simple show of hands, if I say the name Stephen Sondheim, how many people know who I'm talking about? Okay, so a few. How about if I say the name Into the Woods? A few more. Sweeney Todd? A couple, okay, so you might have seen some of those films. So Stephen Sondheim is really one of the titans of American Broadway musical theater. His career spanned the last half of the 20th century and is continuing on even now into the 21st. And he's sort of the figure that carries on the Broadway mastery from the tradition of Rodgers and Hammerstein up into the present day. Now, when Sondheim writes for shows, he uses a variety of methods. Sometimes he sits at the piano and improvises a melody. Sometimes he'll begin by improvising a scene that the character might be in, that he's writing the song for. In the case of this next song, Sondheim asked the book writer, the script writer, to write a monologue for the character at this point in the show. And then he took that monologue and adapted it almost exactly into this next lovely song from a musical that was written for television called Evening Primrose.
this paper, I remember trees. There is coat racks spread like broken umbrellas, and parks and bridges, ponds and zoos, ruddy faces, muddy shoes, lines and noise and bees and boys and days. I remember days, or at least I tried. But as years go by, they're a sort of haze, and the bluest ink isn't really sky. And at times I think I would gladly die for a day of sky.
Oscar Hammerstein of the team of Rodgers and Hammerstein was Sondheim's main mentor as a young man. He guided Sondheim in his development as a composer and lyricist from his teen years up until Hammerstein's death in 1960. And one of the things that Sondheim admired most about Hammerstein was his willingness to experiment. And one of the shows that he admired most of Hammerstein's, in fact, was one of his biggest commercial failures, one of his most experimental shows, a show called Allegro, that we hardly ever hear about because it wasn't a great success. But Sondheim, too, prided himself on experimenting with his theater. One of his biggest experiments was a show called Anyone Can Whistle, which famously closed after only 9 performances on Broadway. It was his biggest flop, but it also gave us some really, really wonderful songs, including this next one.
The smug little men with their smug little schemes, they forgot one thing. The play isn't over by a long shot yet. There are heroes in the world, princes and heroes in the world, and one of them will save us. Wait and see. Wait and see.
like Into the Woods or Sunday in the Park with George. But Sondheim also has a great gift for mimicry, for creating songs that imitate the styles of a particular era or a particular songwriter. He used this gift to great effect in a show called Follies, where aging showgirls sang songs from the various eras in which they were stars on the stage. But first we'll give you another example of his great ear for mimicry from a show called A Funny Thing Happened on the Way to the Forum, which Sondheim has said is a throwback in terms of lyrics to the style of great American songbook lyricists like Cole Porter and Ira Gershwin.
For over 30 years, I've cried myself to sleep, assailed by doubts and fears so great, the gods themselves would weep. The moment I am gone, I wonder where he'll go. In all your simple honesty, you can't begin to know. Shameless whim, just wait till I get my hands on him. I'll hold him and fold him. Where is he? That dirty old man, where can he be? Profaning our vows for all to see, complaining how he's misunderstood, abusing me. If he only would hold on, sweet love, my heart. You vermin, you worm, you villain, come face and praise your bride. Wherever he is, I know he's still an angel, my angel. Where is he? That dirty old man divine, I love him, I love him. That lecherous little lascivious, loathsome, lying, lazy, dirty old man of mine.
The sun comes up, I think about you. The coffee cup, I think about you. I want you so, it's like I'm losing my mind. The morning ends, I think about you. I talk to friends and think about you. Does no one know? It's like I'm losing my mind. All afternoon, doing every little chore. The thought of you stays bright. Sometimes I stand in the middle of the floor, not going left, not going right. I dim the lights, think about you. Spend sleepless nights to think about you. You said you loved me, were you just being kind? Or am I losing my mind? I want you so, it's like I'm losing my mind. losing my mind. All afternoon doing every little chore. The thought of you stays bright. Sometimes I stand in the middle of the floor, not going left, not going right. I dim the lights to think about you, spend sleepless nights to think about you. You said you loved me, or were you just being kind? Or am I losing my mind?
So Sondheim has written some powerful, lovely ballads, and we're going to do a set of those for you next. But because Sondheim is Sondheim, a ballad is never just a ballad. It serves a purpose within the musical as a whole. When Sondheim's musical Passion was in preview performances, he and his collaborator, the book writer James Lapine, struggled with their main character, a woman named Fosca. Fosca is a sickly, unattractive, rather grasping woman who falls in love with a handsome young soldier named Giorgio, a man who initially does not return her affections and who views her attempts to pursue him as obsessive and unwanted, as stalking. Sondheim and Lapine could sense that the audiences weren't connecting with Fosca. They didn't find her to be empathetic. They didn't want her to succeed in her pursuit of Georgia. And so then when Giorgio eventually did fall in love with her, the plot didn't seem to make sense to the audience. It just didn't land right. So Sondheim and Lapine solved this problem by adding one song to the musical, probably the simplest song in the score, but it's a song where Fosca opens up and explains how she loves Georgia.
Loving you is not a choice, it's who I am. Loving you is not a choice, and not much reason to rejoice.
this point in our program to introduce to you these wonderful performers that we're enjoying this afternoon, starting from the far right, Ms. Mari Bass, Ms. Wendy Jones-Hill, Ms. Lisa Mueller, Mr. Jordan Peterson, and at the piano, the fabulous fingers of Ms. Joy Baumler. So in the year 2000, the Library of Congress produced a concert in honor of Sondheim's 70th birthday. And as a part of that celebration, the organizers asked Stephen Sondheim to put together a list of some of his favorite songs, songs that he had not written. And so the resulting list, a list that Sondheim titled Songs I Wish I'd Written, at least in part, included over 55 songs from a variety of genres. And we thought it would be fun to give you 2 musical theater songs from that list next. young actors because his songs are like little self-contained scenes. And this is not by accident. Here is what Stephen Sondheim said in an interview about his songwriting. To work in a show, the song has to be a sort of little one-act play in which you state an idea, and then you develop it a bit, and then you come to a conclusion. And if the song is what you would call successful in the show, it's because it moves the character from point A to point B, or it moves the plot from point A to point B. But the point is, the song has to be necessary to telling the story. If you can take the song out and it doesn't leave a hole, then the song's not necessary. Well, here are 3 great examples of those little one-act play songs that Sondheim has written in his many shows. The first one's from Into the Woods, where Cinderella has just fled the 3rd night of the festival and is processing what has just happened. Next, we'll give you a song from A Little Night Music, where the actress Desiree Arnfeld comes to terms with the fact that the man that she has fallen in love with is not going to be hers. And finally, we'll wrap up this set with a song from Sweeney Todd, where the murderous barber Sweeney Todd talks with the baker, Mrs. Lovett, about how they will conceal the evidence of his crimes.
He's a very smart prince. He's a prince who prepares, knowing this time I'd run from him. He's perched on the stairs. I was caught unawares, and I thought, well, he cares. This is more than just malice. Better stop and take stock while you're standing here stuck on the steps of the palace. You think, what do you want? You think, make a decision. Why not stay and be caught? Well, it's a thought what would be his response. But then what if he knew who you were when you know that you're not what he thinks that he wants? And then what if you are what a prince would envision? Although how can you know who you are till you know what you want, what you don't? So then which do you pick? Where you're safe out of sight and yourself, where everything's wrong? Or where everything's right and you know that you'll never belong? And whichever you pick, do it quick, 'cause you're starting to stick to the steps of the palace. It's your first big decision. The choice isn't easy to make. To arrive at a ball is exciting and no one's you're there, though it's scary. And it's fun to deceive when you know you can leave, but you have to be wary. There's a lot that's at stake, but you stall long enough, 'cause you're still standing stuck in this stuff on the steps. Better run along home and avoid the collision. Even though they don't care, you'd be better off there where there's nothing to choose, so there's nothing to lose. So you pry up your shoes, then from out of the blue, and without any guide, you know what your decision is, which is not to decide. You'll just leave him a shoe, for example, a shoe, and then see what he'll do. Now it's he and not you who is stuck with the shoe in a stew, in the goo. And you've learned something too, something you never knew, on the steps of the palace.
Isn't it rich? Are we there? Me here at last on the ground, you in midair, sending the clouds. Isn't it bliss? Don't you approve? One who keeps tearing around, one who can't move. And where are the clouds? Send in the clouds. Just when I start
Here we are, hot from the oven.
What is that?
It's priest. Have a little priest.
Is it really good?
Sir, it's too good at least. Then again, it don't come in sins of the flesh, so it's pretty fresh.
Awful and fat.
Only where it's that.
Can't be a poet or something like that.
No, you see, the trouble with poet is how do you know it's deceased? Try the priest.
Heavenly. Not as hearty as bishop, perhaps, but not as bland as curate either.
And good for business. Always leaves you wanting more. Trouble is, we only get it on Sundays. Though it's rather nice.
If it's for a price.
Order something else, though, to follow, since no one should swallow it twice.
And if it's lean.
Well, then if you're British and loyal, you might enjoy Royal Marine. Anyway, it's clean, though of course it tastes of wherever it's been.
Is that squire on the fire?
Mercy, no, sir, look closer, you'll notice it's ferocious.
Thicker, more like thicker.
No, it has to be grosser, it's green.
The history of the world, my lord.
Save a lot of graves, do a lot of relatives favors.
It's those below serving those up above.
Everybody shaves, so there should be plenty of flavors.
How gratifying for once to know that those above us serve those down below.
Now let's see, we've got Tinker,
Something pinker,
Taylor,
paler,
Potter,
hotter,
Butler,
subtler,
Locksmith. Now, this may be a bit stringy, but of course, it's fiddle player.
No, this isn't fiddle player, it's piccolo player.
How can you tell?
It's piping hot.
Then blow on it first.
The history of the world, my sweet,
Oh, Mr. Todd, what does it tell?
is who gets eaten and who gets to eat.
And Mr. Todd, true Mr. Todd, who gets to sell?
But fortunately, it's also clear that everybody goes down well with beer.
Since Marine doesn't appeal to you, how about Beer Admiral?
Too salty. I prefer general.
With or without its privates? With its extra.
What is that?
It's fop, finest in the shop. Oh, we have some shepherd's white pepper with actual shepherd on top. And I just forgot, here's a politician so oily, it's served with the doily of wine.
Put it on a bun. Well, you never know if it's going to run.
Try the fryer on the tire.
No, the clergy is really too coarse and too mealy.
And after that's compactor.
Yes, it always arrives overdone. I'll come again when you have judge on the menu. Have charity for the world, my pet.
Yes, yes, I know, my love.
We'll take the customers that we can get.
I'm born and love, my love.
We'll not discriminate great from small. No, we'll serve anyone, needing anyone, and to everyone. Hello.
This is Nancy reminding you, what time do we need to be done with these fine folks? Right now? All right, I'm going to say then we're going to skip our final number. We're going to let that be our closing. I would like to thank you all so much for joining us today for a little bit of Stephen Sondheim. I put some information in your programs about our upcoming show. We'd love to have you in the audience. Thank you and have a great day.
First in line.